Hi, embrace Zindegi. I'm Shumi with Dr. Parthapratim Bose. Today, we are going to talk about, are you in the mood? Yes, you are the party animal, right at the heart. You are a heartthrob of a party. Music is on, you are dancing, you're socializing, everybody around you, and suddenly it happens to you that you are sinking, you feel like sitting at one corner, you just don't want to meet anybody and probably keep to yourself. It happens with all of us. At our workplace, we meet our colleagues, suddenly they come, you're in the perfect mood, but you start getting irritable. Does it happen to you? How often does it happen to you? Does it happen more than once a week? More than once a month? You need to consult, and that's why you are here. Our expert, Dr. Partho, is going to talk about. Partho, tell us, what is mood swing? What is it?
Dear friends, mood is something like emotion. This emotion is very dynamic. It's not a fixed thing. We are all in moods because in the morning you may be feeling happy, in the evening you may feel a little low. So mood is something like, it's a very dynamic thing. But when the swings are not bad, but when you have very frequent swings, that means you are feeling too high and too low and more frequently, and associated with certain cardinal signs and symptoms in the form of you're not getting enough sleep, you don't feel good in the morning, you feel terribly low in the day, when you're excessively into substance abuse, and you're very irritable, groggy, losing temper, you're not at peace with yourself, and something very unusual, and typically, when you have a background history, that makes the things more relevant.
So you are saying that a lot of external factors also cause mood swing?
Absolutely, because what happens, there are two ways. I classify mood swings into two, the extrinsic and intrinsic. Now let's talk about intrinsic before we go into extrinsic. Now intrinsic is that when the working ladies these days, in the menstrual, cycles, many times they get this premenstrual tension.
And not only working ladies, Partho, I have seen my students also, the teenagers, they also go through this mood swings.
So one is that in hormonal, when you're in the reproductive age group, that is what we call the premenstrual tension. You have mood swings. Another thing is that when you go into menopausal hormonal changes, we get a lot of mood swings. So these are intrinsic, and also when you have, like for example, when you are into substances, like for example into alcoholism and tobacco and other habit forming, these are the intrinsic factors. But coming to the extrinsic factors, very relevant and pertinent to in the post-COVID scenario, because COVID gave a huge mental changes, and this is what we call PTSD.
PTSD, I've heard so much about it.
What is it? Post-traumatic stress disorder. That means you probably had a COVID and probably have come out of it. Maybe you've seen your near and dear one suffering, but it traumatizes your brain so much that you're not able to cope up. So you always feel, you hyperventilate, you feel anxious, you're not able to sleep. So this is one area. Then of course, change of workplace, method of working. Like for example, as we discussed in our last podcast, we are talking about the spatial ergonomics. Suddenly, from an outdoor activity, you have become very indoor bound, which I told you the 80% time the indoor. Any change in your biological clock, then of course, shift of your biological clock. Now people are working day and night. So there's a lot of blue light effect. That is also another extrinsic factors. Then of course, the career challenges, new rules, all those expectations.
And suddenly I feel, as a teacher, suddenly after 2 to 3 years, students have come back to classroom. So you even adjusting, socializing, the stresses that they, face day to day, that also causes a lot of mood swing, because I've seen it in children. Sometimes they just burst out crying, or they are leaving home where the mother is not feeling so good.
You won't believe, to me, as you rightly said, as a teacher, you must have seen, and in my clinical practice, since we practice a lot of wellness, I see a lot of students coming to us. In fact, we run this wellness program. They are unnecessarily consume a lot of antidepressants and anti-anxieties. So there's a huge amount of, and many of, I know India, there may not be restriction at times. They go and somehow they manage to get these antidepressants. They read about all those antidepressants. They feel good and start doing it. And also substance abuse. So what I always tell people is that, if you read about coping mechanisms, we used to say that you should be emotionally active, you should be emotional quotient. Now, in post-COVID, there's a very important term we are talking about, which is responsible for the mood swings, in adversity quotient.
Okay.
That means in adverse situation, how you develop the coping strategies.
Okay.
New rules, new planet, new working areas, new way of giving examinations. The world is connected, relationship issues. So this adversity quotient is one of the reasons for having this tremendous amount of.
So tell me, is there any kind of dietary factors that affect mood swings as well?
Absolutely. Before getting to the dietary factors, I must tell you as a professional why these mood swings are. Why some people are having the mood swings, others are not.
Yeah.
So I think it will be relevant because the planet at large, they want to know why, when, and how.
Yeah.
So as a professional, I must tell you why it happens. As we discuss in our holistic harmony journey, brain has to release certain amount of good hormones to make you feel good.
Right.
We always discuss what endorphin, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin and melatonin. But let me tell you the two most important hormones which I keep telling is that one is called dopamine and is called serotonin.
Okay.
They are like seesaw.
Okay.
They play with each other.
Okay.
Now the dopamine is a very interesting hormone. It's a neurotransmitter. The dopamine gives you that feel good factor. It makes you feel good. But one big problem with the dopamine is that it has a reward pathway. It can be repetitive. That means you may enjoy it, but eventually you can end up getting into an addiction, overdose. Like for example, you are enjoying a certain amount of activities. Like for example, maybe you are enjoying coffee, and or any other caffeine, but you end up taking addicted.
Yeah, being addicted.
Even probably having a little good of wellness with a glass of drink, probably going to. So dopamine is a very good feel-good hormone, but the problem is it has got a reward pathway.
So you want to balance.
It's a balancing. No, so that's why the dopamine activity, which is released by the brain, plays a very important role in take care of the brain. But at the same time, you have to understand there's another hormone which released by the brain called serotonin.
Okay.
Now serotonin is truly a wellness hormone. It enhances sleep, it improves the mood. So simply by dopaminic behavior, you cannot feel good. You have to counter it with serotonin. Serotonin does not allow for your dopaminic repetitive behavior to go. And serotonin is something you must have said that you feel good. And the best part of the serotonin is that though it is a neurotransmitter of the brain, but 80% of this neurotransmitter is in your gut. So sometimes what happens when you are in mood swings, you must have seen people going to snacking.
Yeah, right.
They go into all those
snacking
and they gain weight. So that's stress. So
that.
The balance is the key. It is something like riding a cycle. The front wheel is your dopamine.
And I guess we tend to eat sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. More. That's why I say the front wheel is the dopamine, the back wheel is the serotonin. Balance is the key. Learn to balance the dopamine and serotonin behavior. And once you balance it, what happens? You always feel good. There's not much of swing. Your adversity quotient improves, and the best part of it, you sleep better, you feel better, you get up better, you oven fresh, and you don't get into all those complication of substance abuse and stuff like that.
So let me go back to that question of mine. That is there any dietary factors which affect mood swing?
Yes. Look, there are certain, like for example, there are dopamine is one which is called tyrosine pathway, which is an amino acids. There are certain foods which are rich in dopamine, like poultry products.
Poultry products like milk, curd,
poultry in the sense of chicken and tunas. Tunas are because tunas maybe is a little expensive, but poultry products, milk is also good products. Then it has been found that avocado is a good dopaminic, which is in. Then certain nuts and also high in dopamine, and of course a lot of fresh foods are dopaminic. But serotonic foods also you have got, and typical serotonic foods, as you rightly said, is your dairy products. Milk is high in tryptophan because paneer you can have cheese because serotonin comes from tryptophan, which is more in milk products. Even banana, which is rich in tryptophan.
Absolutely.
Even chocolates. I tell you, don't go for those French. Go for dark ones.
Dark chocolates.
Not the sweeter one. Dark chocolates, which is serotonic. And of course, if your diet, as we always, we discuss that balance is the key. If you toss up your diet with a combination of yogurts and seeds and fruits, and of course, as I always say, before you hit your gym or go for activity, have a banana. That is very serotonic.
Absolutely. But tell me, one thing always worries me is that we talk about mood swings and we are saying that once a while it's okay. When should we turn to for medical help? I mean, as far as mood swings are concerned, if it happens more than a week, more than once a week, or very frequently.
Look, friends, this is a very important, because the frequent mood swings and underlying medical disorder could be a very hairline difference. So the background is the key. It has to see, if you rule out other factors, like if you think that okay, you're doing fairly good with career and other factors which you have taken care of. Then of course, many of these people, especially if you have a family history, always we give important family history. Family history with a very insular history, and typically if you have a PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, especially if you have lost somebody in the near endeavors, if in the post-bereavement phase, or if there is some loss, something or financial loss, these are the situations should be very critical, and usually they can go into major depressive disorder, or many times there are bipolar disorder. So one thing is that if you think it is something which is not very reversible, especially in PTSD and background family history, and if you think it's getting more difficult, and the swings are becoming more difficult, and you're not able to cope up, and especially there are few cardinal signs which you are having it, like for example, if you're doing suicidal ideations.
Yes, that's absolutely. I think, Partho, as a layman, as a teacher, as a housewife, not really housewife, a professional, I should say that talk to people. I think that is the first cure. You need to converse. You need to talk about your mood swings. Even if it's, you're feeling irritable towards things, talk it out. Your mother is the first person that you can talk to, your friends, but keep confiding people.
Absolutely. Your talk therapy is the most ways, a two-way connect.
Yes.
When you talk, somebody is listening, and it is something like you're parking yourself. When you talk, you release your certain negative emotion. Talk therapy is very important. In fact, in many of the patients which we get in the post-COVID scenario, especially in PTSD, and people come with hyperventilation, not able to cope up, they're frequently relationship issues. One very important thing which I talk people is that cognitive behavioral therapy. Now CBT, I'm not saying you have to come to professional to us for cognitive behavioral therapy. You can do an auto-cognitive behavioral therapy. Now what is cognitive therapy? Friends, I want to tell you, cognition is your mind. Now, every cognition has some core values. How you're brought up, how your core diet, your background, your family, your core happiness. Core gives you certain behavior.
Right.
Because, like for example, you're brought up with certain kind of smell, taste, background, aura. So, core gives you behavior. Behavior decides your action. This is called cognitive, behavioral, and action. So, it is your cognition, behavior, and actions. So, what happens, you have to do a little auto-introspective measures. Like for example, the 3 things if you do before going to bed. What you have to do before retiring, what is the going to the bed is, what is the validation I have done today?
Yes, that means what worth have I given?
Like for example, I'm not saying validation means that you have to become like a topper of a class or some good. Validation means probably you help somebody to cross road, or maybe you taught somebody. Maybe you have given some financial help to somebody needy once, or maybe you help some elderly people by your talk therapy. Some validation
that helps, probably that gives you self-confidence as well.
And we talk about charity. It's a serotonin behavior, as I told you. This is validation. Number 2, what have you done to enhance yourself? Maybe what have you learned? What you've learned, new learning. Maybe you learn music. Maybe you learn skill yourself. Maybe you something, maybe some.
And it doesn't matter which profession
you are in, like maybe gardening or poetry or whatever. This is the step. Third is that how good you feel. Talk to yourself.
Talk to yourself. I feel you don't have to sing well, but just sing. It's okay to sing, to play.
So though validation, I think you don't need validation from. I think self-introspection. So always I say that the biggest problem of the mood swings to me, the reason being, we are working like a horse, it's like a treadmill, but we are not introspecting, we are not talking, we are not going inside deeply and talking, am I worth, am I enough? Now, when you talk to yourself, then you say you're much better than the rest of the world.
Always feel you're the best.
You're the best.
You are the best. Nobody else in this world can validate that. The day you start thinking you are the best, you're going to give out your best. And always remember, accept this. If you have problem, accept, acknowledge, and reach out.
And one more thing I always tell people is that this is one thing which is really one of the reasons people are going to tremendous mood swings, that we are compromising our sleep cycle.
Yes,
because we are in a biological clock. We are having day-night shift because biological gives you a lot of hormone fluctuation. Stick to your sleep. I am a sleep physician. I always value sleep. 8 hours of a day, that means 1/3 of life. So I tell you there are a few rules you have to follow to enhance your sleep. If your sleep is good, I can tell you your mood swings will come down by 40 to 50%.
Right.
So learn these pre-sleep habits. Like for example, sleep is something like it's like a good music.
Good music. Yes.
So you have to be an alert state before going to sleep.
Absolutely.
So follow certain pre-sleep. Now what are the pre-sleep habits? Number one, suppose you talk to yourself. Suppose you want to go, either you could maybe owl or could be a lark. Suppose your time is say 10 o'clock. An hour before you should be in a switch off mode.
Right.
No laptop, no phones, no music. What you do is that, because you understand, eye is an extension of the brain.
Okay.
You have to give solace to your eyes. So first thing is that an hour before you divide into 15 minutes 4 times.
Okay.
The first 15 minutes take a soothing bath, shower. Enjoy.
Yes, absolutely. And now, that can be the relaxing bath,
that
not
is
like
what
the morning.
You won't believe 365 days in my busy profession, when I go back home before I sleep, I take irrespective of the season, take a bath. You feel good. You have some, you enjoy some music.
And put a lot of aromatic
feel aromatic. And that's why we give a lot of stress to aroma, the wellness. Your bath could be a tremendous amount of environmental wellness.
Right.
Number 5. Because that you release a lot of endorphins. Then comes a very important thing, what you call listening to some music. Music is an alpha activity that stimulates your brain to release some good hormones. 15 minutes.
And you know, one thing I feel that don't always listen to music through your headphone. Have a surrounding
music. And I always say no headphones. You know, we are not using any headphones and all. Surrounding music, soft music, nature's music. And always you listen to the music which connects to your core.
Right.
Not that you have to follow the things which is the world is following. Number 3, which is very important, which is what you call certain breath meditation. Now I tell you what is breath meditation. Like watching it. This is your third eye and this is your breath. If you focus your third eye, half close your eyes, when is the time to retire to the bed, just feel your mind, identify a word
and
which is
feel it here,
the third eye, Trambakam. So when you identify a word which is dear to you, say for example your father, mother, your spouse, maybe your guru, maybe say Om. So identify the word, don't chant it, try to locate the word and simultaneously feel the breath at the level of the nose, which is called the philtrum. When you breathe in, it's cool. When you breathe out, it's warm. Feel this. This is called parallel breath. It's called breath meditation. This is also called anapanasati. This is how Gautam Buddha got meditative experience and he got Bodhisattva. Do this breath meditation for 15 minutes, not on the bed, sitting on the chair. And the last is visual imagery. Now, what is visual imagery? Take up some pictures, not the WhatsApp pictures, maybe your good days, good parties, maybe your children's education, you travel somewhere, something. Go through an image,
some photographs,
and you connect yourself to your visual memory, which I told you, limbic system. You feel good. If 4 things you do.
And you know, Partho, there's a very good idea that I heard somewhere, that put something on the ceiling, for especially for children. You know, if they like stars, like moons and stars, little glitters. And then especially for children who are in teenagers and they are aspiring. So even a photograph of a university that you want to get in, you know, that can be very
absolutely inspiring. In fact, in our ICU, we are using this. Now you have got a lot of light system which you can change those, those experiences, because other things are very fixed. It's a very innovative way. And of course, stay away from this blue light, the phone light, which is disturbing your sleep cycle, because sleep is a very sensitive, because it is like a rhythm, it's like a symphony. You enter the NREM sleep, then the REM sleep, which is like stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally the deep sleep. And also, you can have a cup of milk, hot milk, which is tryptophan, rich in serotonin. So if your sleep is good, you feel good. So this can be very therapeutic to avoid mood swings.
So get into good mood, listen to a lot of music, practice the healing, the process of sleep, and wake up fresh, alive, and rejuvenated. Stay with us, stay connected. If you have such problems, get in touch with us. Write in our comment box. And Dr. Partho is here to answer your questions.
Thank you so much. Be in good mood, enjoy the nature around you, and feel positive, stay connected, and don't forget to subscribe our channel and keep forwarding our good things to your near and dear ones. Regards, Dr.
Namaskar.
দারুণ করেছি।